I'm Donna Anderson, and this is part 2 of No Strings Attached. Now today we are going to make finger puppets, and if you'll look, I have 2 little friends right here. One is my little blue fairy, and look, it fits just right on my finger. And then my other one is my monster friend, and my monster friend has teeth, and he has this little furry coat that when you put it on, he can hide. Oh, or he can go, Argh! And you can have him under your arm like this so that you can talk to people. How about that? So we're going to be able to make one of those today, but you're going to need some clay. Now, I'm not sure that you have clay at home, so what we're going to do, let me move them out of the way a little bit, is I'm going to tell you how to make some clay. Now, this is the clay that I've already made, but the way I did this was I took 2 cups of flour, 3/4 cup of salt, and 3/4 cup of warm water, and then I put it in a Ziploc bag, all of those ingredients. Now, I double bagged it like this, just in case when I was mixing it, if it broke, it wouldn't be all over the place, because your mom wouldn't like that. So if you'll put that one inside, and you don't even have to seal the one inside, but then push all the air out of it and seal this one, then you've got all of your ingredients inside. And if you'll just start kneading it, just with your fingers to mix it together, you can move it around inside the bag, and you can pull the bag away from it, move it up and get some more of it until you get it all mixed together. As soon as you have it all mixed together, then you need to come back and turn on the video, and we'll start making our finger puppets for the day. Go to it. Hello, we're back. Wow, I sound just like Miss Donna. Anyway, we're going to make some finger puppets today, and now that you've got your clay all mixed up, Mr. Monster is going to go over here and sit down for a minute, and then we're going to build our finger puppets for today. Now, you need your aluminum foil, and what you're going to do with your aluminum foil is you're going to have a square of it. You just tear a square off of it, and what we'll do is we'll take and put it around your pointer finger. So if you take and just lay your pointer finger down and fold this over it, and just keep it flat on either side of your finger, and then roll it around it, and keep rolling this one this way. And now you have a place to have your finger for your finger puppet. You don't have to tape it, you don't have to do anything, but just leave it just like that. So make sure that it fits pretty close, because if it doesn't fit pretty close, you don't want it to move around on your finger and maybe fall off. That would be terrible while you were doing your play or having you talk to somebody. Now take your clay out of the bag, and it shouldn't be stuck to it. It's pretty cool clay. It's easy to make. If you're going to keep it for a day or 2, I would put it in the refrigerator, because it can spoil, because it is made out of food products. So I've got my clay, so I'm just going to take about a pinch, about that much, and that's going to make the head for our let's make a little bit more. That's going to make the head. So let's squish it together just like that, and then you can take and roll it into a ball. If you want to roll it on the table, you can. See, it doesn't even stick. It's really cool clay. And it air dries. You don't have to do anything else to it. So now we've got it into kind of an egg shape. And then you're going to take your finger and poke it in the middle of it. And just keep turning it around until you poke it in. You're making a little hole in there for you to put your aluminum armature. Now, an armature is a basis for a sculpture. It's what supports it while you're working on it. Sometimes the armature stays there after the product is finished. Like in this case, the armature will stay inside there while we're using the finger puppet. So now I've got it around my finger. I'm going to pull my finger out and see there's a nice little hole there. Can you see that? So I'm going to take the aluminum foil that I had and put it on my finger. And you want to make sure you don't poke your finger through the top. So be sure you pull that down and poke it in there. And you should be able to feel how close it is. And just keep squeezing it around it. Now we can add more of the clay if we need to for our face or our head or whatever it is that we're going to make this time. So what are you thinking about making? Are you thinking about an animal? Are you thinking about a monster? Are you thinking about a fairy? I have my little blue fairy over there that I made. And we'll talk about her later. We've got some hair on her that you might want to know how to make. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I've got it covered. I've got it all the way down here. Well, that doesn't look like anything. It just looks like my finger's all swollen up. So what we want to do now, we want to pull it down around this aluminum foil so that it goes down to the edge. And it'll keep it nice and sturdy for us. Okay, now, if I want to make a head, I can kind of squeeze around it with my fingers so that the neck is smaller. And I can push up with it to make a chin. Okay. I can push in to make eyes. Got eyes on either side. I need a nose. I might want to pinch some more off. You know what? I can make a dog. I know, I made a dog yesterday, but I can make another dog. Or I can make a cat. Okay, I'll make a cat. No, I won't. I'll make something with a long nose because I kind of like that. Kind of looks like a duck. As you're working on it, you can decide what it is you want it to look like because you're the artist, right? And it's your finger puppet, so you know what you're going to do. It kind of looks like a duck. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I still think a dog would be cool. See how it sticks to itself? That's kind of cool too, how it sticks together. You don't have to do anything to it. Okay. Let's make it into a dog. I like dogs. Okay, so we're going to make a dog. I'm going to open his mouth here. Now I have fingernails, so that helps me do this. But if you don't have fingernails, you can use a chopstick and open it up that way. We can roll the chopstick a little bit to flatten out an area. We can roll it this way to make it thinner. And smooth it over here. Okay. You want to make sure that it's even too. I've got it a little bit crooked. But you're making a head and then a neck. Okay. All right, and I'm going to make some eyes again. Let's see, the round part, that'd be cool to use. I can make that. And then I can draw on it later. Got a nose. I can make ears. Make ears that stand up. How about big, great big ears? Let's make them point. We'll make it like a triangle, and then we'll stick it up here. Okay, and I can use my chopstick to kind of make it go inside there a little bit. Does that look like an ear? Okay. I'll get a little bit more. We'll make it like a triangle. That's not a triangle. What is a triangle? It has 3 sides, doesn't it? Okay, there we go. That looks like a triangle. And it's about the same size, so we'll stick it on here. And then we'll use the chopstick to press it in. And after this dries, we can actually paint on it and paint the features in. But right now, we just kind of need to get the shape. All right. So I've got it all just about like I want it. His ears falling down a little. Let's let his ears perk up a little more. Okay, now, if I just lay it down, it's going to have a flat side. So what I did was I made a little base. And I just took an old wire hanger and folded it up like this. Now, you might need to get some help with this. Big brother, dad, mom. And that way you can set it on this little base. And that way it can dry. And every now and then you can come back and look because it is soft. So it might droop a little. And these little lines, we can smooth those out with our stick, our chopstick. We can make this a little deeper again because it's kind of closed up. So as this hardens, you'll still be able to work on it a little bit. All right. So there he is. So you can make as many of these as you want. Just take and start with your aluminum foil. And you're going to have quite a bit of clay. You'll have, you know, I've already made 3, 4, and I still have some clay. We're going to do something special with that. It's a surprise. Okay, so I'm going to put this back in the bag so that it stays nice and soft. I'm going to seal it up. When I get almost sealed, I'm going to press all the air out of it because the air is what dries it up. And then seal it the rest of the way. Then I can fold that over and put it over here out of the way. Here is a head that I made ahead of time, and he's already dried. And I made him at about the same time that I made the monster. But I waited to paint him so that you could see what he looked like when he was dry. See, he's kind of... Now, if you just throw it on the ground, yes, it's going to break because it is just flour and salt and water. But if you'll stick him on the little stand here, and I'm going to grab my paint, and it's just your watercolors. So I've got my watercolors, and I'm going to get my fancy brush that has the water already in it. And what color do we want him to be? You know, he kind of looks like a dragon, doesn't he? I think he does. But my monster's already green. So I could let him be a red dragon, couldn't I? Okay, so I've got my paint. I'm going to squeeze a little water in there and get the paint on both sides. And then, look at that. It just paints right up. So we're just going to paint it with the watercolors. And I put some little dots in there to give it some characteristics so that it wasn't just solid. He kind of has a nose, doesn't he? And if you'll notice, it just sinks right down in it. Now, you don't want to get it too wet, but the color does take very well on the flour and salt. And it didn't rub off. When I was using the monster a little while ago and playing with it, it didn't rub off on my hands. So this works well. You could probably take your markers too. Now, I'm not sure how well they would hold up. They might rub off on your hands if you were using them. And since you are going to have it in your hands, that might not be the best choice. But if that's what you got, then use it. And you know what? A little secret, you can always spray it with hairspray, and that kind of fixes it. Put the paint on and you want to fix it or make it so that it won't rub off on people. then you can use hairspray to do that. You don't have to have anything special. You know, people are funny. They think that you have to have all these special art things to work, and you don't. So you just use normal everyday things. Like our clay is just flour and salt and water. Okay, now see how fast this is going? So we're almost done with it. You don't want to get it too wet though, because if you get it too wet, then it'll dissolve it, because it is just flour and salt. Okay, if we turn it around, you can see that we're almost done. And those little white places, we can get those. All right, now you want to paint it all the way down to the neck, because what we're going to do is we're going to find some fabric and use some fabric on it to make like a little outfit for it. Not necessarily an outfit, but just a covering so that you don't see your hand there. Now, if we turn it down this way, we can see that we haven't gotten it underneath his nose or his snout. If it's a dragon, he has a snout, doesn't he? Okay. All right. Now I'm going to leave this. I'm going to paint inside there with red. And then I'm going to, after it dries a little bit, and it won't take very long for it to dry, then I'm going to go back with a Sharpie and do a little bit of detail on it. Okay, now let me put these away, because we're finished with those for a minute. And I found this cool fabric. Look at that. Won't that be cool on him? And you're saying, oh, but I can't sew. Well, that's okay. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take this and turn it on the other side. And I've got a hot glue gun right here. Move him back just a little. Get my hot glue gun. I'm going to take the hot glue gun and just put it across here. Now you probably will need somebody to help you do this. Or if you've got a low temperature hot glue gun, that would be all right to use. That doesn't make much sense, does it? A low temperature hot glue. But I think if somebody in your house has a glue gun, they probably know what I'm talking about. So we're going to take this and just stick it together right there. And we're going to leave a section about this wide so that his neck can go in. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to leave that section. And I'm going to put glue on the top here. And then remember, we left this section right here. I'm going to glue that together at the top. And then I'm going to glue this together right here at the bottom. I'm going to take and just put it down this edge and then stick this on top of it. Now, since it's hot, don't stick your fingers straight onto that. Use something else, like your bamboo chopsticks, and put that on there, and that'll stick it together. Turn it this way so I can see. All right. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn it the other way. And when I turn it around, we're going to have a place for you to poke your fingers. Let's get my glue gun over there. We should have a hole in the middle. And then we should have, the corners should be glued together. See, there's our hole in the middle. And then our corners are glued together so that we have a place to put our fingers to make like little hands. Aha. So if I put my thumb here and my other finger there and have my pointer finger up here, that's how he'll go on there. So let's put him on here and look. Does that work? Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, I like this fabric. Do you? Yes, you do too. Okay. All right, now we need to attach it to its neck. So we're going to take it and turn it upside down again. And this time, we're going to pull the neck through. And then we'll just hot glue around that. So we're going to put this here, put some hot glue around it, and then pull the fabric up around it. And be sure you're using your bamboo stick and chopstick and not your fingers, because you don't want to get your fingers burned, because it is hot. And don't glue your chopstick to it. Okay, so we make this all touch around here. We'll let it cool a little bit. And then I'll be able to stick my fingers in here. And his little outfit will stay. He probably doesn't appreciate me calling it an outfit. Do you? No, you don't. Okay. There we go. All right. Now you need some features on your face, don't you? Yes, you do. Okay, so I'm going to take and put him back on my little stand so that I can take care of it. And see, we have this all nice and stuck down. Have his little, see, and where you turned it, you've got places to put your fingers. Okay, now we're going to take and just use a Sharpie, and this one has a brush tip, and that means that it moves so that it's a little bit easier to use. So I'm going to take and go into his eyes and draw his eyes on. Kind of outline them like he has eyeliner on. And then I'm going to go in and make a dark eye. So that really pops out, doesn't it? Different than this. So now on this side, I'm going to do that. Put it in there. And he's not red in there, is he? It's okay. All right. The places where I put the dots, I think I'm going to put lines between that. So you can draw on it with a marker or with a Sharpie. Now a Sharpie is permanent. Remember that. And his snout, I can actually, I think he'd want a black nose. He's going to get one. Does he even have a nose? Actually, dragons have like nostrils, don't they? Let's just make nostrils. See, I can change my mind. So there's some nostrils. And then I can actually make like little, like scales. And if you wanted to have a green dragon, you could have a green dragon. I like dragons. I used to read lots of stories about dragons. Okay, and then I can do it on this side too. Make some scales. And then I can also turn it around and make sure that the back of him, see right now he's pretty bare back here, but I can make him look like it has scales here too. And you could actually draw real scales like this if you wanted to. This one is, since it's the back of his head, we'll make them bigger. And this little brush pen is cool because it makes it thicker or thinner depending on how hard you press down on it. So this could go all the way down to his outfit. I like calling it an outfit. You know that he's probably going, "Ugh, it's not an outfit. It's my clothes." Okay. Alrighty. And then here, we'll just let that be open like that. Alright. And then around the ears, we can make some around the ears. Alright. Now, I'm going to close this up because we always want to close our pens, put the tops on our glue sticks. We're going to set our little stand over there. And I'm going to put my fingers in here. And this is the way I have it. I have my finger in the middle for his head. And then I have this finger over here for this hand. And I have my thumb over here for this hand. Okay, so let's put my finger in the middle, my pointer. And then put a finger over here for this hand. And a thumb over here for this hand. And look at that, he's hiding. And look, is he not the cutest little thing? All right, bye for now. We'll be right back. Okay, so here's our trio of buddies. My monster. Now, if you'll look at my monster, let me show you. I took toothpicks and stuck the toothpicks in there while it was still soft and gave him teeth. And then I painted the teeth a little bit with some white. Okay, so I made some grooves in his forehead. I drew his eyes in. Back of his head's just kind of clunky. But then I found this furry fabric and I thought, oh, cool. Monster's got fur. Okay, so for our dragon, I added some wings. What do you think? Is he not just as cute as he can be? And here's my little blue fairy. Now, my little blue fairy, I made her hair out of just twine. And it's easy to do. All I did was take and wrap it around 3 fingers, like this. And when I wrapped it around the fingers, I got as much hair as I wanted. And then I cut it off right here. I took another piece of the twine and tied it at the top, right up here, and just tied it in a knot. You can get somebody to help you do that if you can't do it. And I may need to get somebody to help me if I can't do that. There it goes. Okay, so I tied it in a knot right there. And then I took and I just made sure that I held it where the knot was, and I cut it. So when I cut it, it made the hair. And you're thinking, well, this hair doesn't look like that hair. Well, that's because then I untwined it. I untwisted it. And when I untwisted it, it kind of made curly hair. And I thought, well, that looks kind of cool. So when you pull them apart like that, it makes curly hair. So you have to do that one at a time. It does take a little while, but you can still do it. And then what I did was after I got it on there, and I have a little more hair on her, then I took it and hot glued it to the top. And then I put that little pipe cleaner around it to hold it in place. Then I made her a little blue flower too. Now, if you're going to have our little fairy on your finger, you might want to put some tulle or some kind of fabric down here. But then again, she's a whole body. I made a whole body for her. So she kind of, it's like she's just kind of sitting there in your hand, and she can fly around, and you can sprinkle some magic dust on her, and she can go and just appear. So I hope you have had fun making our little finger puppets today.